What is up, everyone? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever the heck you guys are tuning in from. We got Kane in the house. Let's fucking
Was
go. I'm super excited for this. Quick context of how I met Kane. I think we met at like I don't know if you would call it a house party, like house party in a
well,
way,
it's
or
stylized as a house party,
like
isn't it? But I think
yes,
I think it was a quick get together organized by our
yes,
mutual friend Bing.
yes, yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it was stylized as a house party, but it really
Yeah.
wasn't, isn't it?
That's how I usually like to like describe it anyway. But also
Yeah.
quick shout out to After Show Home Bar, the guys like Bing, Chifong, Brian for like just organizing that space and also the team behind it. If it wasn't for that, then we wouldn't have met. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
shout out to them. But yeah, obviously met Kane. Kane was of like one of their house parties, and I was like, holy shit, like DJ's here. So I went. I was literally like just like over there, yeah, walking down. I was like, dude, like, can I just stand next to you? This is so cool.
It was not too awkward. Yeah, I think the
Okay.
best part was like it was awkward for like a minute. That was it,
Uh,
right?
yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah,
the energy
yeah,
shifted, right? And when the music started, we were all vibing, you know.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So yeah, it was a great opportunity for me because I haven't had many DJing opportunities outside of like my circle, right? So
Yes.
this was my
Yeah.
first, and meeting you as well. And from
Yeah.
there, we've known many more mutual friends. That's crazy,
Correct. That's
you
crazy.
know. So yeah, I mean, it was awkward at first, but when the
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
conversation got flowing and while I
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
DJing, I mean, I was busy, you were like socializing as well, but it was kind of funny as well because it was like, bro, yeah, you can hang out here, no worries,
Yeah,
like we can
yeah.
talk.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I didn't want to be like so imposing because like I was like worried that I'll make it awkward, but then I was like, dude, I want to learn. I want to see you spinning the decks and all that. But yeah, I also was like cautious about wanting to give it your space as well. So I'm glad you like me. So like you alluded to, you DJ on the side, but you also work in a sales role, right? So how about you give a quick intro to yourself?
Yeah, so yeah, as Idris alluded, my name is Kane, 29 this year, younger than Idris, but yeah,
I'm actually younger than you, but okay.
yeah, I know, right? Yeah, yeah. So before I stepped into the world of DJing,
Mm,
I just graduated and I was still on the lookout for a job.
mm,
And I had recently met up with an old friend from tuition, and she was like, what are you doing now? And everybody else had their careers started earlier than me because I
mm,
was a bit late.
mm,
But I had, I mean, I had a shoe-in chance for an interview with a
mm.
local bank here, and they had
Nice.
a graduate trainee program. They had some, apprehensions of my degree because it's not directly related to finance,
Okay.
So that's why they offered me the job. And at
Yeah.
the same time, they were kind of desperate for people. Not
Right.
gonna say much on that, but yeah, at the time, the turnover rate was pretty high. But anyways, it was a great shoe-in chance. I was very lucky. Yeah, 4 years in the banking industry, and I also worked in a sales capacity as well. I was a
Mm,
account relationship executive, so it
mm,
was all business development, relationship management, upselling and stuff. So
mm,
we were dealing a lot with loans and insurance, right? And
mm,
that was my exposure to the greater
mm,
business world in
mm,
Malaysia, in the corporate
mm,
world as well. And I think 2 years into my role, I had met up again with an old high school friend, right? And his name is Nabil.
mhm.
Amazing guy. Amazing guy. He's a really nice guy. And I'm very grateful for him. Very, very grateful for him. He's also
Shout
a
out
DJ.
Nabil.
He's also a
Oh,
DJ. I've known him from high school, and he's an amazingly talented individual. He's very artistic. But yeah, because of him, so on New Year's Eve in 2024, he had organized a party at his place,
mm,
and I came over, and he had his decks in his room, and I was like,
mm,
whoa, what's this, and I immediately knew it was a DJ deck,
mm,
right? I
mm,
knew what was going down. I've seen the equipment before. I just never
mm,
touched it or tried out the
mm,
software.
mm,
And he gave me a shot, right? Just try it out, just fuck around with it. It's completely fine. And he
yeah.
was just showing me his techniques and what does he do, because at that time he had also just started, right?
Okay.
And the way that he learned and he started off was, at the time he was doing graphics design and multimedia. I'm not
Mm,
sure how to describe it properly. I could be describing it in the wrong way, but the way that I see it, he was doing 3D design for a DJ acquaintance of his, because they had wanted to have visuals on the display while they were DJing, right? So he has experience in that. And for payment in return, he had asked him, hey, you don't need to pay me, but just teach me how to DJ. And Bob's your uncle, right? So in turn, technically from there, Nabil became my coach as well.
So cool.
Yeah, exactly, right? And if not for that back and forth between me and him, I wouldn't have been in my shoes today. And from day one, then from the very next day, I think no, from the week after, he invited me back to his place to try it out again, because I had downloaded music on my USB and I didn't know what was happening. I thought I could just play music and play it from end to end, but that's not the beauty of DJing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes you gel things together. Right.
Yeah.
So after that one session where I was playing music from end to end, I was just listening to how he was DJing. I went back home and I downloaded music from one of my favorite producers. Shout out to Tisoki. He's based in Los Angeles, but he's from the UK.
Okay.
He has a Discord whereby he puts out his unreleased stuff, and it's for free. It's just
Wow.
not allowed to be released commercially. You
Yeah.
know, I downloaded those. I downloaded Rekordbox, and I just DJ'd on my PC on Rekordbox with a mouse and keyboard, trying it out, and it felt so good because I had just figured out when and where to mix, which portion of the song to mix, and it was a no-brainer because he structured his music in a way that it was very easy to DJ, where to start, where to stop, right?
Okay.
And I recorded a 5-minute mix. Just to test it out. It felt good for me, right?
Yeah.
But I had wanted to know whether it felt good for other people. So I sent it to a lot of my friends, my close friends, basically. I sent it to about maybe 4 or 5 of my friends, and I asked them for their opinion, and they were like, "Whoa, what the fuck is this?" You know, this is something, you know. I mean, I have receipts, so I have receipts, you know. So yeah, they were really questioning, you know, what's this, you know, what sound is this? And I was like, yeah, this is my first foray, you know, just trying things out. And it started from there. And almost every consecutive week, whenever Nabil had time, or whether he was open to coaching me, or on Mondays, I'll just go to his house and it's like, do you want to jam? Do you want to jam? Do you want to jam? And he's like, yeah, just bring USB. Do you have any tracks that you want to play and try it out? Let's do it on those days. I always film us bouncing off each other's energy, doing a B2B impromptu, you know, just practicing.
Nice.
And we'll film it, and then I'll just post it on IG stories. And I'll just see how it goes, because it was just a passion project at the time. It's just a pure hobby. It slowly snowballed from there, and to be honest, it kind of ate into work as well, because I was having late nights.
Yes.
I was focusing a little bit more on the music, not too much on work, and work was also getting a little bit more monotonous, and dare I say, not lining up with my values, to be honest.
Okay.
It wasn't really genuine. It wasn't really genuine. It was more of like just bumping the numbers up. It wasn't really reflective of truths out there in the wider economy. But I felt differently about the music. You know, you definitely have been there before, you know, when you have the passion, right? This is the right thing for me, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. When
versus,
you know it just aligns.
Yes, you know, versus, you know, I need to put food on the table. I need this money, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
Yeah, it just wasn't really genuine, you know. And it came to a point, I think last year, maybe I forgot whether September or maybe July, I really forgot. There was a DJ conference.
Okay.
And this DJ conference was organized by basically old-time folks, legends in the Malaysian circle that have already started DJing and put out their own content. And they have also had contacts in the local scene. On the other hand, their day job was in media. Right. So shout out to DJ Adrian G, and shout out to Ash as well from Flow State. Yeah. So DJ Adrian G, he's had plenty of experience in the media sector with Media Prima, right? The people handling New Straits Times, the people handling maybe sometimes, I think TV3, if I'm not mistaken. You know, and I did not realize that they've been DJing for that long, for like 15 years, 15, 20 overall years. And he's now, okay, I don't really know his age. He just looks, you know, senior.
Yeah.
Terribly sorry, DJ.
We love you, we respect you.
We love you, yeah. I mean, he's the not to say taiko lah, but he's a respected member in the DJ circle here in Malaysia.
Mm.
And they organized the DJ conference, right? And we had to pay for admission. And you know what? I decided, you know what? It seems fun. They had talks. Not only did they have talks, but they also had equipment for you to mess around with, the
Oh,
decks and
sick.
everything.
Yeah.
That immediately put me on game because I wanted
Nice.
to mess with the equipment.
Yeah.
I had all that drive and that inkling and that want and that need to mess around with equipment. Besides, I already had a USB prepared.
Yeah. Yeah.
I paid for admission. I was late during that day. I didn't manage to attend all the talks, and also because I had a late night the night previously, because I was attending Stove Lab, of which you and I
Okay.
both
Yeah. Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I attended Echo Chamber, and then the next day was the conference,
Okay.
right? Came over to that particular cafe at 2 p.m. You know, it was bustling, and I met a bunch of other DJs there as well, of which we have gotten closer. Shout out to DJ Miyamoto, who you've met last night as well.
Mm. Mm.
And I just messed around with the equipment, and they had open decks, right?
Mm.
So you just had to write your name on a board and just pick a time slot, half an hour, just do your thing. It all started from there. It all started from there. And the more people I met, the more opportunities I had. And I think the most interesting one was having open decks with YSL, with the makeup particular
Yeah.
circle.
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't big or like there wasn't many people coming, it was great for the brand. It was great for me as well, lining up with the vision of YSL as well, to be edgy, to be different, and
Yeah.
most of all, to align with music. To align with music. But I think you and I will be surprised. Malaysia has a really diverse and wide music scene. Even though dare I say we are Western facing, you know, we have a
Yes.
lot of people here that listen to Taylor Swift, Olivia Rodrigo, everything
Yeah.
American or everything European.
Yeah. Yeah.
We still have a healthy local scene as well. Our local scene, we have very talented rappers, guitarists, drummers, vocalists as well, right? And they all want to incorporate a local sound, definitely.
Yes, I agree.
In fact, I think even musicians in Klang is famous for being a mostly Mandarin or Hokkien speaking region, right?
Really?
And check out their sound right now. It's all hip hop, it's all trap, and it's all in Mandarin.
Whoa.
And they
That's so
connect
cool.
on a very wide audience, exactly.
Wow.
Especially
Okay.
on the more Chinese speaking diaspora over here in
Yeah.
Malaysia. And they are all bangers, all of them. I think the most famous one is 3P with their Klang anthem. I forgot the name of the song already. But there are a lot of up and coming artists recently, and it's a very healthy
Nice.
scene. Yeah.
Nice.
But that's my foray into DJing, you know. And the
Nice.
more people I meet, the more connections I make, the more events we organize. Yeah. And it's all from our passion, and it's coming out
Yes.
from our pocket as well, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's literally blood, sweat, and tears. That's why I'm a firm believer in having a day job as opposed to just going all in. You know, I'm personally not there yet. I'm personally
Yeah.
not there yet.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I think as an introduction, that's pretty good from me.
Dude, that's a strong introduction, man. There's loads of things that you mentioned that I want to pick up on. Let's focus a little bit more on the day jobs aspect right now. So you mentioned you were working in a bank, and then you left that bank, and then now you're working in a startup. Is that correct? In doing sales, or what would you
Well,
say
I
it is?
wouldn't say it's a startup. It is a startup environment, but they've been operating for the past. Operating fully for like the past 5 to 6 years, I think. They
Okay.
were established in 2015, actually.
Ah.
But the more they rolled over and rolled with the punches, now they've started to develop as a proper FinTech platform. And
Okay.
should I name names and call it out right now? I don't think so. Yeah, I'll
Up
just
to
keep it
you.
for
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, they've been operating quite strongly for the past 3-4 years, and they've expanded since to markets such as Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines. But their three core markets are Singapore, Malaysia, and the Philippines. Yeah, I think
Nice.
from there people can start searching already.
Okay. Okay. And how would you describe your role? Is it like a 360 plus sales role? Are you mainly focused on like just prospecting, outbounding, or are you like closing, or are you handling the partnership side of things? Given that that was sort of like what you were doing in the bank.
Yeah, so when I was in a bank, I was doing mainly customer facing stuff and also writing
Yes.
credit papers. I was
Okay.
analyzing and basically arguing business cases of why we should avail loans to this particular customer.
Oh, okay.
But for now, it's very different. I've since left that kind of role, and it's more doing things online, and basically catering the customers' requests or any questions they have, and basically onboarding them as fast as possible, and also
Okay.
ensuring that they transact with us. The company's business model is that we basically avail them tools to accept payment from their customers, right? More of a
Interesting.
payment gateway, yeah.
Okay.
More of a
Okay.
payment gateway. So if they want to enable their customers to pay via card, we can do that.
Yeah.
QR payment methods, we can do that as well. So my job function is mainly just to communicate to the customer how
Yeah.
things work here, what are the rules, how do you get onboarded, and also to help in any capacity that I can give to them in terms of support. So a
Yeah.
lot of times, I guess the three main pillars: customer service,
Yeah.
tech support,
Yeah.
and giving them peace of mind, basically.
Okay. Okay. That's interesting. Walk me through a normal weekday, start to finish, for you in your job. Like, how does that look like?
Wow, yeah. If I could circle back to the banking side, I would always wake up very late, to be honest. I will always
Right.
be late to the office because, well, it didn't really start out that way. I was still pretty early, but it got
Yeah.
really monotonous because my office was located really far away. I had to drive like 40 minutes always on a highway. And I started waking up pretty late. But now, since I've pivoted to this industry, it's a work from home position. So
Okay.
that's the appeal, and that's what allows me to also venture into this DJing thing, right?
DJ.
Since I'm fully work from home now, it's just as easy as like waking up, washing up, drinking a cup of water, jumping on, settling some emails first, and then having
Yeah.
a bit of a bite of a breakfast before big meetings.
Meetings. Yeah.
So I definitely think it's more flexible as opposed to like being in an office. And don't get me wrong, being in an office is great as well.
Yes.
But having that flexibility these days, I feel
Yeah.
it's very, very much better. It's better and it's more beneficial for like mental health. Not gonna lie.
I
It
agree.
is really, really a plus point for me these days. Really, really.
Something I find interesting is when I've been speaking to like, since I've been back in Malaysia, when I speak to like my friends here, they are used to like going to the office like every day. Whereas like it contrasts a lot with like when I used to work in London, it was like, 3 days a week in office, but 2 days remote. And I never really sat down and think about like, the ripples effect of that, like, how it enables me to have like, mental clarity, etc. With the balancing of like, I can still go in and like, socialize or like just like make decision making much more quicker. But then over here, it's just like office day in, day out, done. And then traffic jam, So
Yeah, and that's the thing, a lot of people, I don't think a lot of people can relate to that because they either just stick with it and they just withstand the pressure, or, a lot of the times, like if I talk to the older generation, my seniors or even my parents, they would be like, no, it'll be fine, it'll be okay. They grew up in a different time. We are growing up in a different time as well. And let me bring up a statistic we put up back in 2025 with the advent of like the EV cars coming in,
yeah,
we put more than 100,000 new vehicles on the road. That's more space taken up on our highways, right?
correct.
And that's what contributes to a lot of the traffic jams that we see now, like
Yes.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like yesterday. And we really live in a different time. I mean, compare it to our parents, yes, we built all the roads and all the highways, but there was so much less cars back then. And a lot of the people that were driving cars were mainly in the city, not outstation. Think of it this way. A lot of the cars last time were concentrated in KL. Now they're spread out all the way. Melaka, Johor, Kedah,
Yeah.
Seremban, everywhere. Penang.
Yeah.
Think Penang. Penang
Yeah.
is one of the most densely populated states right now. And there's so many cars there. And you put on even more cars.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, it's great that everyone has attained that lifestyle and that life milestone.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is this: it's contributing to traffic problems, plain and simple. And that's why I think that moving to a work from home model is definitely needed, because we can't deal with it this way anymore. It's not conducive to anybody. And anybody that's complaining about productivity and everything, productivity is always linked back to the mental well-being
Mental health.
of
Correct.
people. Exactly.
I agree. And do you think it is gonna be a challenge for like employers here? And whilst we're on this topic, like, do you think it's gonna be a challenge for employers here to like rewire their sort of like POV towards work from home just because they're so wired, and probably because they're like the older generations, they're all used to the coming in every single day, and so they equate that to like, okay, everyone's in productivity, whereas they, and because of that, they might not be flexible to actually enable employees to for work from home opportunities. So I, at least for me, when I think about it, it's like, oh, like I'm not sure if Malaysia, like a lot of companies here, like can get out of it unless it's like MNCs or GLCs or whatever. But at the same time, I feel like it's too embedded culturally.
Yeah, I mean, I love to hear your opinion on that. I'm gonna ask you that
Mm.
later, but I honestly
Yeah,
think
yeah,
these days it really depends whether you're a legacy business or whether you're new and you're
yeah.
lean.
Mm.
To
Okay.
me, to me, a lean business is a fast business,
Yes.
right? And legacy businesses aren't lean and they aren't fast either because they have to comply with so many like rules and regulations, especially in the
Mm.
banking industry. You
Mm.
have to ask this person, and then that person has to ask this person, and that person has to ask another person for their yes,
Mm.
just because you need so many inputs and opinions. But if it's lean, you can roll with the punches quickly. So I
Yeah.
think a good example is Doodoo Dots. Doodoo Dots is a husband and wife team, and they hire a very small marketing logistics team, and they even he hire retirees as interns and stuff like that. And eventually they
Wow.
do get permanent jobs as well. And the way that I see it, the way they roll with the punches is they do have offices when they need to,
Yeah.
and they impose work from home when they need to. They don't
Mm.
micromanage, they just expect results, right? And the way I see it is that a lot of the legacy players out there, it's hard for them to pivot to a work from home model because they are so used to monitoring. They're
Correct.
so used to like, hey, are they doing work? Are they
Mm.
sitting there and stuff like that? But
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that's the thing. In sales, it's either you're there or you're
Mm.
not there. It's either you're present or you're not present. If you're not present, it's either you're out and about doing marketing, meeting customers and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's bringing in sales. Either that or you're like taking advantage
Dig
of,
it.
going out
Yeah.
and just having lunches everywhere, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's my take on it. I wanted to
Mm.
know from your side because you worked in the UK,
Mm.
and I
Mm.
believe in the UK is pretty. If I think about it, the UK
Mm.
is pretty similar. It's just
Mm.
that they've recently pivoted to a sort of model that allows this flexibility. Because even
Mm.
in the UK with the tube,
Yeah.
it is
It's
still
so bad.
so many people, right?
Correct.
It's
Correct.
so many people. I get the fact that when we look at our Malaysian public transport,
Yeah.
we sort of think like, this sucks, but it's getting there. It's getting
Yeah.
there. But
Yeah.
with the tube is a 100-year-old system as well,
Yeah.
and it still supports so many people. I know that people there are not too happy either, but they just still get with it. They still roll with the
Mm.
punches as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I wanted to know what was your
Mm.
experience.
Mm.
When was the time where you felt that, you know what, this isn't really for me, or like, I can really do this. This is my thing.
Mm.
I'm just gonna
Mm.
roll the punches. I'm gonna
Mm.
continue doing this. This is a great
Mm.
job. You know.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
I think for me it was interesting because the role that I was doing previously was like more operations within like a tech marketplace, and because of that role, it's like we're sort of like the beating heart of the business. Like we have to function in order to keep the business alive,
You're like the
and
backbone of the company. Yeah.
pretty much like the engine. And at first, before the company got like Series A, like I joined when it was seed stage, and it was still okay in terms of like coming into office, but also remote as well. But then even then, it's like I had to take like what central line. I don't know if you've used the central line before, the red line. 820. It'll be sort of like packed sardines, bro. Especially when it's summer. Oh my gosh, like sort of like it's hot. BO, everyone's packed together, it's sweaty. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so disgusting, man. And
Trust me, I've heard many horror stories. I was only in London in the winter period, so thank God for that. And even
yeah,
then, for some odd reason, heaters were
yeah,
on, and I'm like, wait, what
yeah.
the? I'm wearing my jacket in the tube, bro.
It was sort of like, okay, this is just like how it is. But I did, during that time, I was like, okay, I will take advantage of like my work from home opportunities. But then once the company reached Series A, they wanted to be more aggressive with growth. So that meant that a lot of more people start coming to the office more. And in a way, like I thought of doing that as well. Only because I think number one, I was more productive there, but also number two, like I can actually like decisions get made quicker
Yeah,
over
and
there as well.
socialize there as well.
Exactly. So that's why I think I'm leaning more to like actually going, having the opportunity to like go into the office every day, but at the same time, if there's work from home flexibility, great. At least it's not you have to, but like you can if you want. So that's my take on that.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like it's better. This is gonna lean a bit into politics as well, but it's always great for both sides to mesh and melt together. You might
Mm,
have a certain view on the left, you might
mm,
have a certain view on the right,
mm,
but when you come together and you find a commonality and sometimes maybe a compromise, the things that you do when you factor in greater society definitely will benefit not only you but the bigger circle as well, like the
mm.
big picture at the same time. I mean, it could be the collectivist in me, it could be
Yeah,
the collectivist in me,
sure,
not the
sure.
individual in me.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I
yeah.
feel as if the angle that I'm coming from is that
Mm,
people either prefer working in the office and
mm.
people either prefer working from home. But there has to be a balance. I
I
feel there
agree.
has to be a balance. The best
Mm,
thing that happened for me, especially
mm,
when joining this new company, is that
mm,
they did arrange an office environment for us, but it wasn't a must
mm.
always to come into the office. And
That's good.
if you did want to come into the office, it's a great choice.
Yeah.
It's a great choice because it was a co-working space. You either hot desk or you
Mm,
stay in the office,
yeah,
completely fine, right?
yeah.
We needed a great environment to have a quiet meetings. That's one.
Yes, yeah.
We needed a productive environment where we could just get coffee whenever we wanted. At plus
Exactly.
point two. But
Yeah.
also on the other hand, working from home, you wanted to get your much needed rest
Yes.
and then just wake
Yeah.
up on during the next day and just get things going right from the get
Yeah.
go
Exactly.
instead of using time, not wasting time,
Mm.
using
Yeah.
time to
Using time.
travel, using time to
Mm.
travel. So that
Mm,
was my main gripe. That was my main
mm,
gripe, and I think
mm,
it was a great chance. And I'm honestly blessed. I really am grateful and blessed for all the experiences that I've had.
mm,
That
mm,
I know and I learned this about myself that you know what,
mm.
spending time on the road, great and all, but these days, the freedom that a car allows you isn't what you used to experience 15 years ago. It's
Correct.
completely different. You know,
Correct.
sorry to say, we've made cars accessible. I wouldn't say we've made cars too accessible,
Mm.
but we really need to get a jump on things in terms of the public transport side. It's
I
great that we
agree.
started and rolled it off, but we have to monitor and see with the next few years. Because it's
Mm.
honestly, I feel like it's going to be a shit show when everything
Yeah.
starts to go back to the office.
I agree. You went from sales and then now you're doing more like, would you say is more customer service support and onboarding, if
I
that's
would
how you
say
would describe
sales
your role?
actually. Yeah.
Sales. Okay, still
I would
sales.
say it's still
So
sales.
what part of the job genuinely enriches you but also takes the most out of you? Because I know for sales there's targets, there's numbers, and it's always like you have to hit tangible results and it'll live in your mind.
That's a great
So
question.
yeah.
That's a great question. I grew up being a people pleaser, not gonna lie.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of a red flag of mine. But every time I get asked this question, I always say the same thing. I want to
Mm,
make people happy. I want to put a smile on that face.
mm, mm,
Genuinely, I just want to put a smile on that face. The
mm.
same way I did to you last night, playing all
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
music and making
Yeah, yeah,
sure
yeah.
people have a good time.
Yeah.
People just listen to bangers, and
Yeah.
that's why I studied culinary management. I had wanted to go into the culinary industry, in terms of
Yeah.
cooking, because I had a passion for food as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But after my degree, I had also realized that, you know what, I enjoy dining more than serving
Cooking.
diners, right?
Mm,
I could work
mm,
as a waiter and whatnot, but it isn't the most ideal situation over here. Notwithstanding that, I still wanted to put a smile on people's
mm.
face and to hear their gratefulness over the phone.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
narcissism inside me is coming out.
No,
Hold
no,
on, you
we'll
know,
allow it.
you know. But hearing that always puts me in a great mood, and
Yeah.
I wanted to build on that. I wanted
Mm,
to build
mm,
on that and let it snowball from there. And that's
mm,
why I joined in a more sales capacity, because
mm,
that's how I felt like I was contributing to society. Because
mm,
everybody has problems.
mm,
It felt great for me to solve theirs. It felt great
mm,
for me to answer their questions and to
mm, mm.
provide.
Value.
It felt great for me to provide some certainty in a world filled with uncertainty.
That's true. Yeah.
That was my main motivator, because the way I see it, even in my immediate circle, everyone is always uncertain. They're always like, where do you want to go? What do you want to
Yeah.
eat? What do you want to do
Yeah.
tonight? Should we
Yeah.
watch
Yeah.
this
Yeah. Yeah.
movie?
Yeah.
I was often placed in the position of like, hey, let's just do this at this time. Let's meet now, meet now, meet now. done,
Mm.
right?
Mm. Mm.
It felt like I had put my strong sense of leadership in practice. And whenever I had the response of like, hey, thank you so much for the help and thank you so much for that feedback, it always puts me in the best mood, you know. And I roll with the punches and I move on from there. And what takes the most out of me is when I give them that level of service
But it's not
and they come back
reciprocated.
to me again and they come back to me and say like, hey, you know, this is what happened.
Yeah.
I thought that, you know, it worked this way, but it didn't, you know, and you
Yeah.
sold it to me wrong and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
there seems to be some
Something missing.
misunderstanding here. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, did I align the pieces wrongly for you? You know, I thought I
Mm.
tried to, because in many times you're trying to piece together a puzzle for them and you get the
Yeah.
payment back, you know, that's the
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
expectation.
Yeah.
But when
Yeah.
they receive their puzzle and they feel like something's off, you have to circle back again. That takes the energy out of me as well. But that's the nature of the job. And I feel like that oftentimes that's the nature of how life is. You have to
True.
circle back and you know, people just want certainty. That's it. People just want certainty. That's all. And I feel like God put me on earth for this particular purpose, you know. So that's how I got started. That's how I got
Nice.
started. Yeah.
I love that, man. I mean, my takeaway from what you just said is that acts of service, or even to some extent, yeah, hospitality, acts of service is something that drives you in life. Would you say that's correct? Or
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, my love of cooking came from being in the scouts, you know, and
Ah,
I love playing with fire and barbecuing, you know.
yeah,
Yeah, Mr. Powell, Sir Powell, you know, yeah, you know. I mean, how about yourself? You know, what would you say? I mean, we went into love languages technically. You
yeah,
know,
yeah. We did.
yeah. What are your love languages actually? What would be your first?
I think I'm the same actually, because if I am hosting a gathering or if I'm meeting someone for dinner, for example, I would want them to walk out of it feeling good, feeling like, oh, okay, that was like one of the best times I've had this week, for example. And I try to be very intentional about like the type of experience that they go through. Yeah, that's the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah, right. And I think it's also part of being Malaysian. You know,
Yeah,
be it
exactly.
whether we're from West Malaysia or East Malaysia, it's
Yeah,
providing that level of hospitality,
yeah.
that empathy that we can connect with anybody, that
Mm,
kindness,
mm,
that show of companionship, right? You're part
yeah,
of the world, yes.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
mean, you could say, you know, it is because we are a collectivist society, yada yada yada. But no,
Mm, mm.
it is Malaysian hospitality, really.
True, true. So now that we've touched on about how your day job looks like, and you've referenced this at the start in terms of like how you got into DJing through your friend Nabil, and then how the first few steps that you guys should start riffing off each other from there. Let's take it back in terms of like a year ago, like, or yeah, a year ago ish, like since our end of 2024, or maybe 2 years ago. How did you even start balancing that out with your day job?
Wow, yeah. Not gonna lie, I really did start neglecting work,
Okay,
really.
yeah.
So when my passion kickstarted, I was really leaning towards, you know, the nightlife, and I really
Mm,
love going to events, raving, and you know, I just wanted to have a good time with my friends. And at the
mm.
same time, I was enjoying so much of the music that was coming through my Spotify on my release radar,
Yeah, yeah,
banger
yeah,
after banger every 2 weeks, you know,
yeah.
for New Music Friday. And I wouldn't say it was strictly a balance because
Yeah.
of the neglect, but I would say I always carved out time. You know, people can never be too busy. You know, in
Correct.
fact, people can never be too busy. You know, to reply you as well. You know,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
so
That's
to
true.
to to everybody out there listening, no one is busy enough not to reply you. They're ghosting you on purpose.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of that,
So
so I've done it before.
yeah, everybody is, you know, as long as we acknowledge it and we just, you know, just take accountability, you know, it's all good, you know.
Yeah.
But for myself, I think I had started my fitness journey as well at the time because
Mm,
Nabil also started working out, and from
mm,
time to time I would either gym with him or gym with
mm,
another bunch of my friends.
mm,
But whenever I gymmed with him, I would always ask like, "Hey, do you want to jam tonight?" And it's like, "Yeah,
mm,
let's do it after we
mm,
have food." And gym started usually around 7 p.m., rolled around all the way up to maybe 10 p.m. after we had food. And then we went back to his place and we just DJ'd for about 2 more hours. And then it would hit the stroke of midnight. Then only I went back home. And that was the start of like my sleep schedule getting screwed up as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all my fault. I admit it, you know. Yeah. And I would say yes, that's how that's I would say how I balanced everything out, because I also started to try and record my own sets at home and do it on the computer. I'll be on, you know, mouse and keyboard, queuing up songs, just pressing record, yada yada yada. And I'll be, at times, it depends on the length of the set I'm trying to record, but I'll be either I'll be practicing for like 1-2 hours and then record for half an hour, upload the set, and then that's it, you know. And sometimes it could take almost a week or so, because sometimes you feel so drained from having so many activities lumped into such a tight time frame. Right? And but it's all about carving out time, and it's all about, and I'm honestly, I mean, as Malaysians as well, I think we're pretty spontaneous. You know, we have an idea, we start to think of something, it's like, oh yeah, I'm going home later and I'm gonna try this out. But sometimes you're like, man, I have to close this, I have to close this, I have to close it. It's all about closing loops. It's about closing loops. We always think about it in the shower. You think about it during work. Right? We have to close things, you know, one by one. And that's how I started to manage things. It wasn't always consistent. You know, it wasn't always consistent. I think my setback for myself is having that discipline, because some days I want to do it, but some days I've already made plans for it. And then some days when I made plans for it, I either cancel those plans and I go back home and do my mixing and stuff. So it really is a matter of choice as well. It really is a matter of choice.
Prioritization.
And prioritization, exactly.
Yeah.
It's very basic. It's similar in a way to how you manage yourself in a business, practically. Yeah. Carving out time, prioritization, done. Yeah.
Do you time block your week?
No, but I honestly think these days it's been picking up. It's been picking up. Like these days, I try and block off things on the calendar. I used to not do that, but these days I always plan in advance. You know, I'm not as spontaneous as I was last time, whereby, you know, you have 2 hours empty on the calendar and you're just like, oh, let's just do something, you know.
Yeah.
I always carve out time, especially around Thursday late at night, because that's where New Music Friday comes out on Spotify.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm always on the lookout for the new music. And when the new music gets released, I'm like, okay, finally this track is out. And I just listen to it. And yes, I try and download them. You know, I'm guilty of that. But if not, where can you get your music, you know? So
that's true.
Yeah. So I always I think these days, because I'm so much more consistent, I always look forward to New Music Friday. That's where I block it off. That's where I block it off.
Okay. So it sounds like when you were starting out balancing, it was a bit more like spontaneous. You were just going like vibes, just going through it. But then now, from the experience of you going through that, you kind of have an inbuilt system in a way, and then you're starting to like time block a little bit more. Then that's how would you say you balance?
Yeah, exactly. So it used to be very impulsive, really, because you might agree with me, as a DJ, sometimes you get that impulse like, oh, this might work, or this might work. Let's try something out. And that's that creative spark that I think a lot of people have, that sometimes they don't leverage. And sometimes that it's not being enabled in business as well. That's why it's better sometimes for people like me and you to operate in such a capacity, to be lean and to make decisions quickly.
Yes.
And at least when the decision goes wrong, we can have the opportunity to take ownership of it, either to apologize and iterate, or we get, you know, punished, you know, normally. But oftentimes, sometimes when we have a quick idea in a big place, it just takes so much more time to get that decision rolling, and it takes so long to get back to the customer as well, because the customer expects so much. Can you get back to me on Monday? And it's like, we can try, but I wouldn't say yeah. And then when it comes to Monday, they're like, have you done this already? It's like, no, we haven't come to a conclusion yet, because we have to pass through so many layers, you know. How can I give you such a concrete decision when I myself am not sure, right? It's a great idea from the customer, don't get me wrong. It's a great idea. It's not dumb at all. In fact, if we get a customer working for us, that'd be great, you know. You approve, I'm your guy, you know. You know. But when it's slow, it is what it is. It is what it
Yeah.
is. It's bureaucracy. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
plain
Yeah.
bureaucracy. Yeah.
So like after a full day of sales for you, where do you get your energy to go and mix and try something new? And it sounds like you have Thursdays blocked, but like do would you leave some days out of impulse to just say, okay, I have free time, I'll just try and spin something and test it out?
For these days, definitely, because these days my circle definitely wants to organize more and more events.
Mm,
They're so on, right?
mm, mm,
They're so on the ball, they're so on the point. For myself, last time definitely it was more spontaneous and impulsive
mm,
because
mm.
I'll be hearing sets from different DJs that I like or producers
Yeah.
that I like, right? And I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
to hear their new music.
Yeah.
And when I get inspired, that's when I was like, yeah, I need this track. And when that track comes out, I'm gonna try
Yeah.
and start mixing.
Nice. Nice.
And these days, I definitely take at least maybe 30 minutes a day just to try out mixing this track to this track, this track to this track, because there's so much
Nice.
music being put out every week,
Correct.
and
Correct.
I have so many favorite music that comes
Mm,
out every so often that I
mm,
just have to, like, when I have the chance to spin this, I'm gonna spin
mm.
this.
Nice.
The people need to hear this, and it's
Yeah.
such
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
banger.
Yeah.
So these days it's a little bit more structured, but when
Mm,
I get into the zone, and especially when I have to prepare for a set,
mm,
like
mm.
last night,
Yeah.
I'll prepare it a week in advance, 2 week in advance. I'll
Mm,
piece together 4 songs first, then build up from
mm,
there, build up from
mm,
there. And
mm.
using Recordbox is a great tool as well because they suggest to you songs that might sound similar or they mesh well together
Oh,
in
that's
terms of
cool.
beats per minute, and
Yeah.
they sort it by key as well.
Oh,
Some
wow.
songs sound like they don't mesh together at all.
Yeah.
Yes, it is the DJ's job to, like, use the effects,
You say.
you
Yeah.
know. Shout out Amandaza and Smooth Brain Girly.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
sometimes it really wouldn't work that way, especially
Mm,
when the crowd does song requests,
mm, mm,
because you're playing a certain genre,
mm.
but the people listening to you want a genre that totally sounds left field. You're
Yeah.
playing on the left wing, and all of a sudden you want to
Is it right?
cross the ball to the right wing. Crossing the ball from the left to the right wing, very easy,
Yeah.
not in the DJ sense. Yeah. So it really, really depends. And that's where the practice comes in. That's where the practice
Mm,
practice
mm.
comes in. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
There's so many moving parts to DJing, like the mixing, the preparation, the performing, even actually organizing the events. Arguably, like where would you say is your first love?
Definitely my first love was when I managed to mix music on my own.
Mm,
Cause organizing events is definitely a bit of a painful process, not
mm,
gonna lie.
mm, mm,
Because we have the anxiety of putting ourselves out there and
mm.
having that gnawing question always, what if we do not reach our audience?
Yeah.
What if people don't come? What if this is being put out and, like, people don't see it, stuff like that?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
if we don't manage to get the equipment or get the location? We have
Mm,
all these
mm.
problems, and it's not the fault of the public, it's not the fault of, like, the industry these days. It's just how the world works, plain and simple. It used to be we could just get a location, play music, done and done.
Done. Yeah.
But these days, monetization of everything is so anal,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
freaking anal, to the point where every single location that even plays music on a freaking radio needs to have a license. And
Wow.
that license, we have to pay Universal Music Malaysia, Warner Music Malaysia. I get it, it's business, but you spoil the fun for everybody,
Yeah.
really.
And the creativity that comes with it, right?
Exactly, and it's to the point where, it's to the point where, like, oh, if people want to enjoy themselves and, like, DJ to people, yeah,
Mm.
just DJ to your friends. I'm like, wait, what? Like, I get DJing to my friends, but, like, people are asking us to, like, actually DJ to a wider audience, and we have a demand for that, and that is a blockage. It's very easy to just say, just pay it, right? It's
Yeah.
very, very easy, very, very
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times talented individuals do not have the money, right?
Mm.
So that's why it plays into to the part of, like, having a day job. The day
Mm.
job pays for and
Mm.
puts food on the table to fund the hobby, and it's a shame because a lot of talented individuals out there in Malaysia, they either don't get noticed, they get
Mm.
pushed down, they get
Mm.
bullied,
Mm.
and they don't get the due recognition that they
Mm.
that they
Deserve.
deserve, to be honest. They
Yeah.
deserve to be honest. I'm not talking about myself. I'm not the best out there. There are definitely more talented individuals out there, but there are methods whereby they overcome this.
Sure.
Social media,
Mm.
people noticing them, managers that want to bring them on board on their management agency and stuff like that. So many methods out there in Malaysia right now. But there are so many other people out there that just get pushed down, even though they deserve the merit, they deserve the recognition.
Mm.
So oftentimes me and my group, we just think to ourselves like, hey, I think these people definitely need a chance and an opportunity the way that we did as well. The way that we did through the open decks, through all these opportunities, meeting up with different DJs, you know. It's as simple as, do you want to come on? And it's as simple as, can I play at this location with your permission? It's just that simple. Yeah. I don't know what's your take on it.
Yeah. I would say, wait, what do you mean? In terms of like specifically the sort of like the Malaysian music scene? Or
I would say,
I
yeah.
think, I don't know, because like I feel like I've only just started getting more embedded into the Malaysian music scene from going to events like yours last night, from like networking events as well. So like it's been of a learning process. But I definitely agree with you that like there are so many talented individuals as well. And I think the blocker to them is just the funding and the opportunities that funding get to enable them. But at the same time, I do see as well that there may be some people who may be less good compared to some of these talented individuals, but if they know how to hack social media from organic reach, then that's gonna set them apart and help them with more visible. Yeah, basically they hack social media, better visibility, more opportunities. So I think it's like sort of like there's different games that people can play. It's just a matter of like how they play it.
Yeah. That's the thing. I feel like there's a lot of intelligent people out there, and
Yeah.
we've come a long way. You know, promoters promoting events back in the days. You know, just promoting them, releasing music online, releasing music in freaking CD form, everything, right?
Throwback.
You know, and then SoundCloud came, and that changed the
Yeah.
game, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to Posty, you know.
Yeah.
Shout out to Posty. Shout out to Gunner. You know, bro, I love Gunner.
Ghana is
Yeah.
sick, bro.
Yeah, Ghana is sick, you know. And you know, it's the pioneers, it's the risk takers. It really is. These are the people that eventually gain success. And circling back to Tizoki, right? He started when he was very young as well, and he's been in the game for the past 11 years. You know, look at Skrillex. He was in music for the longest time,
Longest time,
and
yeah.
he went into production after he left his band, and he was only what, 19, 20 years old, and
I
he's
think
almost
around there.
40 this year. Yeah, he's almost
Yeah.
40 this year. They were
Crazy.
all risk takers, and they were so dedicated, you know. Yes, these are the exceptions to the rules, not gonna lie, these are the exceptions to the rules, but take inspiration from that, right? You know, you like it, you love it, you do it.
Yeah.
Do it for the love, don't do it for the expectation and the
Yeah.
monetization, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people definitely have a vision as of when they can get the returns. No fault to them. It's completely valid, right? But God has a plan.
Yeah.
God has a plan.
True. True. This is a question that I've been thinking of throughout this whole time that we've been speaking. And it's more about people's perception. In a way, I think when they see a DJ, people just see someone pressing play, twisting the knobs and just like, aligning two songs to match the BPM. But like, what's actually going on up there when you're on the deck? Like, what are you thinking through?
Music, and making sure it sounds good, you know.
Yeah.
It's very hard to explain to the layman that also did not study music or learned music. There's a very stark difference. So I've met people that never learned or studied music. They do listen to music, but surprisingly, their sense of rhythm completely off.
Interesting.
Completely, they have no sense of a constant beat, even
Yeah.
though they have a constant rhythm in the heartbeat.
Rhythm. Yeah.
They don't have that mental. They don't have
Awareness.
that mental note of a constant rhythm. Right? They don't have a sense of rhythm. And the way I see it is that I'm trying to keep a constant rhythm, and I'm trying to manipulate your emotions with pitch and a sense of beat, you know.
Yeah.
I want to make you dance. I want to make you jump. I want to make you vibe. I want to make you feel something.
Yeah.
I want to make you reminisce of something. That's how I feel and I think when I'm up there. It definitely looks like I'm pressing buttons because think of it this way, DJing started from record mixing, from putting two record players together, plugging them to different speakers, and just letting the music just try and mix together as best as it can. In different key or not. F major, G, whatever, freaking minor, I don't know. Right? I would like to highlight a particular example that I have personal experience with. Shout out to DJ Nyota. DJ Nyota has been a prominent DJ in Malaysia for the past 1 year. I've met her since last year. And before that, she was actually studying and working in Singapore. She studied psychology. She was teaching kids, right? I think if I'm not mistaken, special needs kids. So that was her niche and that was a specialty. Earning that SGD, she came back to Malaysia and she decided, you know what? I want to learn DJing. And she wanted to become a full-fledged Afro DJ, whether it's Afro house or Afro beats.
So cool.
Her brain is wired in a way that she admits it herself. She has that ADHD, right? And it's great because in the current scene, a lot of people and a lot of DJs are putting their content in TikTok. And TikTok is very fast moving. The transitions are either like from one song to another and then you scroll. One song to another and you scroll.
Yeah.
It's boom, 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 right? And a lot of the times, the transitions either land or they don't land. They either stick or they don't stick. Or they sound weird and it's just like that. And people just accept it. You can either consider it slop or complete genius because a lot of the times when I hear it in a messy, loud club environment, it just works. Because it activates people's feelings. It activates people's neurons. It's like, oh wow, this is my jam.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter or not whether it works with that particular song or like melodically. That's the way she does it. But a lot of the times where she does it, she does wordplay as well. Right? Something to do with about love, and then all of a sudden it will be going to a song talking about a situationship. It's meaning. That's the amount of dedication that she puts into her craft, actually. It's not the musical notes, it's the lyrics. It's the lyrics. And sometimes it's the rhythm as well. It's the same beat for this one and it's the same beat for this one. You know, I find beauty in that, in her craft. I've seen it up close and personal as well. And she does it very, very quickly. Messes with the knobs if I could describe her DJ mixing style in terms of like keyboard presses per minute, fastest is like what, 120 keyboard presses or something, I don't know. She does at least like 80 actions a minute or something. It's always bop, bop, bop. It's like being shifty, pressing all this, and then she always messes with the effects. Echoes it out, reverbs it out, boom, next song, boom, next song. Every transition, 10-20 seconds, 20 seconds. She goes through 100 songs a day. I mean, a session probably every 2 hours. If I inference it correctly, you know. And that is her craft. And that's what a lot of the DJs are out there doing. And for me, when I'm up there, I've already planned a preset set of songs that I think would be a great fit for taking the audience on a journey. You know, different genres, different types of beats, different types of bass lines, right? And I would shift bass line slowly in order to make sure that it doesn't sound too harsh in terms of a change. Because people notice things and people are very attentive. Their ears are very sharp, even though they're not, even though they're untrained. Right? I think the most trained ears in the world are basically musical coaches, right? They can catch a single note off just like that. A change in beats per minute. You know, I'll be changing from 150 to 145 and people can immediately notice it. Immediately, because they're already used to having a set rhythm already. Humans are creatures of habit, right? You agree with me?
True.
We want things, you know, at a set beat. But that's the beauty of music. You can have swings. You can be in tune with your emotions. And when you have downshifts and upshifts, you work with it, you flow with it. And that's where I'm coming from up there. I increase it and I slow it down. I increase it and I slow it down. I increase it at a very fast beat and I'll cut it to halftime. And when it's halftime and it's a trap beat, everybody's like, whoa, and then everybody has that big. You know, DJ Nyota does wordplay and then she shifts from this word to this word, you know. I got the beat, and then beats by Dre. I got the beats by Dre, something like that. She does wordplay, and then she does DJ call outs, DJ taglines from her
Sick.
favorite artists.
Yeah.
That's her craft, and that's the version of my craft as well, in terms of taking people on a journey. That's her job as well. She wants
Mm.
people to have a good time,
Mm.
buy drinks,
Mm.
support the bar.
Mm.
It's her job, and keeping the
Mm.
nightlife alive,
Mm.
right? And it's somewhat of a multicultural background as well. She's fully Portuguese
Whoa.
heritage because her parents are Portuguese, but she's lived in Malaysia her whole life,
That's
and
so
she's the
interesting.
most Malaysian person I've ever met. It's
Wow.
crazy. It's crazy, you know. And she's the nicest person I ever met. Amazing, beautiful person, and her craft. She's just amazingly talented. Amazingly talented. She really invested in herself in the best way, paying for
Mm.
that DJ course and
Mm.
DJing at such a high level at this period of time. She only
Mm.
learned for 7 months, and I learned over a course of a year just to
Mm.
be at where I am today. And I
Yeah,
can
yeah,
tell
yeah.
you, I am not as talented as her at this juncture. Really not as talented. I just vibe to the
What
music. She controls the
yeah.
crowd. That's the
What do
difference.
what do you think is the difference in her method of learning? Because you said she learned in 7 months. She got to where she's at. You learned for like a year. You got to where you're at. But then you mentioned there's still a gap between you guys. Like what do you think is a key differentiator?
I think it was her pure and adulterated, unfiltered dedication to the craft.
Mm. Mm.
Because she had quit her job, she
Yeah.
came back to Malaysia. She obviously made her parents very disappointed. Yeah, and she just told me every day she'll be in Starbucks curating sets, messing around with the programming, and then going to the studio and practicing.
Mm.
And every Wednesday or Thursday night, going to places, DJing for ladies' nights, getting paid 50, and then getting paid 100 ringgit, and then it snowballed
Mm.
from there.
Mm. 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 Mm.
It was her fully unfiltered and adulterated dedication to her craft.
Mm.
And maybe notwithstanding the fact that she also broke up with her boyfriend at the time.
Okay.
And she's a self-made woman.
Respect.
She's a self-made woman. I cannot believe I made a connection with her, and I really do appreciate her for her. So
Mm. Mm.
I'm very, very proud to call her my acquaintance and a friend, personal friend. Yeah.
Nice, dude. Shout out DJ Niota. No, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
man.
That's awesome. There's some things that you mentioned that I want to pick up on. So, like when DJs go and perform in clubs, like what is the going rate? Like, you said 50, 100. Is that like per hour? Is that low? Is that high? I don't know. Like, I have no bearing about market
Yeah.
rate here.
Even I'm not too clear, ever
Mm.
since the big EDM boom
Yeah.
back 10 years ago, I think rates have gone haywire as well. The biggest producers
Mm.
out there, they can garner a lot,
Mm.
million, 2 million, I don't know, just per event, or maybe 500K, let's say, for their rider. In the Malaysian scene, I've heard these days, because there's a lot of DJs, because
Yes.
everyone has access to the craft now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it used to be that there were just maybe 20 overall DJs spread around Malaysia, so they can get
Yeah.
good rates. And the
Yeah.
nightlife then was pretty cheap and very accessible
True. True.
before the government started taxing alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah.
These days people can be pretty cheap. So the way I heard from Niota was that she had started to DJ in bars that people didn't know and recognize her. They just wanted to pay her really, really low,
Mm.
50, and then it will go from 100 to 200. And
Mm.
these days she's told me that she can earn 5 figures a night.
Sick.
Yeah, 5 figures a night.
Wow.
And she works
Wow.
2 hours a night. And her work-life balance is beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. Her diet, her timing, everything. She has recovery plans from a late night. She hardly drinks these days just to keep up her
Yeah.
longevity and her sharp thinking in
Yeah.
a bar.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
plays badminton. She goes to the gym, and it's Wednesday, Thursday, weekends. Wednesday, Thursdays, I think she mainly does ladies' nights and also weekends.
Mm. Mm.
And the rest of the week just purely staying at home, recovering,
Mm.
and then being with her partner and her family, quality
Mm.
time and stuff like that. That's how she recovers. But
That's
these
awesome.
days she can definitely earn 5 figures a night. And it goes to show you the dedication to a craft and knowing her
Yeah.
market. She knows her market very well.
Mm.
And her market pays
There's
is
demand.
results. That's demand.
Mm.
Yeah. But for a DJ like me, I wouldn't say that I'm there yet. And the market for me is still quite small.
Mm.
And Malaysia, the music scene is really, really, really super diverse. And I think that for us, and as for me as well, I think the younger crowd is starting to pick up on the genres as well, because they have had a similar upbringing to us DJs as well. You know, we either play video games or we get inspired by a certain kind of music,
Yes.
and that's why we have that craving for this type of music. You know, as opposed to people that grew up listening to the radio, listening to pop music, Taylor Swift,
Yeah.
yada yada yada. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes we can convert these people. You know, it's not about convincing them. It's about getting them like, this actually sounds very, very nice, and I actually love the sound. I'd like to step into this world if you could so allow me to. You know.
Yeah.
And we very much would love to include all these people, of course. You know, just come in, experience it for yourself. We go hard. We sometimes go too hard, but we do apologize for that.
Yeah.
We find ways to make it palatable for you.
Palatable.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It won't be. It's not about letting you listen to angry noises all the time. No, that's not the point. It's about giving you a good experience. You want to relieve stress, you relieve stress. You like the music, you like the music. You know. Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that when you first started, obviously your friend Nabil was like sort of the catalyst, I guess, that got you into DJing, and then even then, you're also now part. You know, you're with Base Capital. That's not part of your gang as well. And by the way, Kane was performing last night. Him with Base Capital, for those, just for context to you guys, and Kane put in such a sick show. It was like crazy. He was like, "Fuck the speakers up." It was so cool, honestly, and like I just love seeing how you were just so switched on and you were really just like enjoying yourself as well. I could feel that from you, but you're also like, you know, wanting to let people enjoy themselves as well. So, but the point of what I'm trying to say is, how important is it to you to have like someone or at least a group of other people that are doing the same things as you start and actually maintain this journey of like DJing, for example?
Yeah, I think that's a very big motivating factor as well. You know, if you're doing it all alone, it's definitely much harder. You wouldn't have the guidance and you wouldn't have the feedback that you require, to be honest.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a big push factor for me. If I hadn't had that input from Nabil telling me that, hey, you could have just, you know, triggered this song at this point and then just let it play. It was matching well just now. Just let it flow. It would have been fine, instead of just like, you know, starting it at this point, because it looks like you're hitting start and stop all the time. It's great, really amazing advice for me. And letting people know and showing people that I'm also on this journey and sharing it on social media, regardless of whether they care or not, it was great as well, because from there, I got exposed to the greater circle of the DJing community at large in KL as well. And without them and without seeing what's out there, I wouldn't know my place in this wider circle as well. And having my friends come along and support me, having that commonality, that shared love for this, for music, not only a certain kind of genre, but for music is it's such an important and big sense of like, because if I hadn't asked for that, if I hadn't asked for that, I wouldn't have made waves along the way. Right? I wouldn't have had managed to pull and convince people to like, hey, I just need you to do this for me. I just need your help. I just need your input. And hey, what do you think?
Yeah.
Circling back to that acts of service and that like people pleasing thing, it's a balance, right? I also want to play something that you like and that's palatable to you. And what do you think of my mixing? If you think that's great, I'm gonna keep it. If you think that isn't great, I'm gonna rework it and then try and make it work for you. Without that feedback, I wouldn't have been where I am today. Yeah, it is so much needed. A lot of people out there, I know they are going through it alone, definitely. And luckily, even though they are alone, at least in the future, they would be able to find a circle, and even online through Discord. Without circles like that online, I don't think they would have that motivation or passion to just keep going. and
Yeah.
striving, you know.
Yeah.
And kudos to everyone out there that's actually going through it out. If you think that you're alone, trust me, you're
Yeah.
not alone.
Yeah.
I've been there before.
Mm.
And it's not about like I don't have the opportunities or you don't have the opportunities to meet new people. It will come. It will come. Have faith. Just wait it out. It will come.
But you just have to put yourself out there first, no?
Yes.
Mm.
Putting yourself out there, it might seem scary. It might seem scary. But if I had not attended that particular talk that DJ Nyota was having as well, I wouldn't have met DJ Nyota. If I didn't pay for that particular ticket to attend that DJ conference, I wouldn't have attended the DJ conference. But if the algorithm gods didn't put that content on my side, you know, I wouldn't have attended it at all as well.
True.
So it's a balance. It's a delicate balance. It's whether you want it as well. Yeah, it's whether you want it. If you're not sure, if you're feeling a bit uncertain, just sit with it for a bit, right? I think it's the same for you too. When you're starting out doing rap,
Yeah.
how does this sound like? You know, am I
Yeah.
plagiarizing anybody? How's the
Yeah.
beat like? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you mentioned about feedback is so important because it, in a way, you're compounding your growth from having feedback with like not even just one person, but like at least for your case, at least you have like a solid base of like people that you can share with, that you know that you can vibe with, they know how you think, they know how you mix, etc. And I think for me, I think your advice was really helpful actually, because I definitely feel like I'm alone, because I'm on this journey alone in a way but I don't really feel that anymore because I met my a friend he's a friend now basically, but like I met his producer and we vibed at like a boat party. I don't know, it's like a pub on a boat, I don't know, something like that. But then he was like,
Idris been in high places, huh? Some high
no, no, no.
sobriety shit.
No. But like, yeah. So then, and then I don't know, just something about it that we hit off, and then went over to his house. He has a studio there, and then, yeah, he produced two of my previous songs, and then at least I'm glad that I went to that event. Number one, because I would have met him, but also number two, that like we invested in their relationship, and then now it's like I feel like he understands where I'm coming from, and I understand his workflow as well. So it's just like, yeah, I like where I'm at now, but I definitely would wanna find a group to bounce off as well eventually. So
Yeah.
it's great to hear that you said that like it's out there. So yeah.
And for a long time it felt like I was alone as well, right? Because notwithstanding the pioneers in the bass music scene in Malaysia, even in the old days, I mean, in the old days, I don't know any names, but after COVID, one name to note would be Waptopia, right? And shout out to Maui, you know. Luckily, he set up Waptopia. If not for Waptopia, I don't think we would have dubstep events in Malaysia. And sadly, it's just that dubstep isn't trending in Malaysia. Maybe Malaysia's outgrown dubstep a bit. I don't give a shit, right? Without him, I wouldn't have been in a position whereby like, hey, I want to perpetuate this movement. I want to perpetuate keeping bass music and dubstep and like hybrid trap music alive in Malaysia, even though it sounds hard or like very in a minor key all the time, not a major key.
Yeah,
It doesn't uplift.
yeah.
It's more like, you know, more like
Yeah.
harder, angry sounds. Without that entrepreneurial spirit from him, without that pioneering spirit of him, we wouldn't have had base capital, if you think about it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have had met my other friends, DJ Meow Milder,
Yeah.
Seth, and other bass DJs out there. You know, if not for Waptopia, and if not for Waptopia, and if not for Stove Lab, if not for Desu Music, if not for Siren, you know, if not for Fires from Indonesia, all amazing talented individuals, and good to God that they made a name for them in Malaysia. They wanted to perpetuate this, you know. So they thought they were alone, but with the internet and everything else, they're not. You know, they're not. I'm glad they found each other, and I'm glad they're collabing, right? And if not for me going out there and putting myself out there, I wouldn't have met DJ Miyamoto. Plain and simple.
There's this saying that like it doesn't matter what you put out as long as you think it's good, and eventually you will find your audience who fuck with it as well. What do you think?
That can be argued.
Okay.
Not gonna lie, that reminded me of how our parents. I mean, every generation has this problem, every
Yeah.
generation. Oh, music used to sound better in my generation. And when I
True.
when I grew up and I hit adulthood, I was like, no wonder adults in my generation kept saying that, because they grew up in that moment in time where like they felt that type of music was great to them,
Yes.
And
Yes.
I slowly started to accept that fact. Like, you know what? It's just we just grew up in different times. You like this type of
Yeah,
music,
yeah,
you like
yeah.
this type of music. It's not that
Yeah.
it sucks.
Yeah.
It's just that it just appeals more to
The-
them. It's fine,
Correct.
You
Correct.
listen to what you like. It doesn't have to be, everyone has to listen to this shit. We've outgrown that sort of like that sort of mindset,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And even kids these days, it doesn't matter whether they listen to Olivia Rodrigo or not. They listen to the fucking Beatles, right?
True. True. Yeah.
So we've come full circle. It's not
Yeah.
that we've produced all the music in the world that we need to listen to anymore. And there's like there's no shortage of creativity.
Yes.
Everyone's
Yes.
blending genres
Yeah.
and stuff like that. That's the meta these days. But kids these days, they're listening to the old shit again,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
we're circling back again, So it kind of defeats the point of being cliquey and stuff like that, right? And to that I say, it's also a direct reflection of the world at large today, because slop is being generated on a
Yes.
daily basis.
Yes. Yes.
You have to make a choice. If you think it's good, genuinely, just put it out there, and the market will test you.
Correct.
And you're testing yourself as well. Bravery upon to you, good, but don't be disappointed when you do not get the returns that you expect.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
People have a way, the market has a way, and the audience has a way to just put you in check. If you have the humility to just say, it's like, this is where I am, this is where I'm gonna be. You know what? I'm gonna make some changes and try put new things out there and then see how it goes. Because that's how everyone starts. Every single freaking one.
True.
Look at Ed Sheeran. Ed Sheeran's the prime example.
Wasn't he like doing drill before or something? No, or like
Before he
right?
started the ukulele,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And he struggled, right? Everyone struggled. He did the ukulele in the tube, out in the streets, and then Jamie Foxx, and then he went to the US and tried to collab with all other artists over there. Jamie Foxx gave him a great shot to perform in just a black bar. Everyone is black there, and all the black people and all his black friends were like, "Are you serious? You're giving this guy a shot to perform with his small ass ukulele?" But he stole the show. He got a standing ovation within 12 minutes, right? It's the dedication. It's the dedication, and it's always a rework. When you have the humility and when you have the reflection to say like, "Yep, this is not what works. This is not what's working out." When you don't have the narcissism to say that, "Hey, I like what I like, and if you don't like it, you can piss off."
Yeah.
You can only say that a certain a number of times until you have to accept the fact like, "Hey, yeah, this isn't working out. I have to rework things." I really have to rework things. Yes, you might change the music scene in the next 10 years. Are you willing to stay that long and just keep saying to yourself, this is gonna work out, this is gonna work out, this is gonna work out? You have to shift you have to be open-minded in that sense. You have to. I definitely learned it the hard way as well, right? People are not listening to the type of music that I like too much, and I can't go hard too much all the time. I have to slow it down a bit. I have to take it back, right? And I'll play something that I don't usually listen to just to get some butt shaking. Who doesn't like some booty, right? So it's a give and take. It's a give and take. It's really how it's the same with business. It's the same with banking. It's a give and take.
Yeah.
It's a risk. It's a risk.
Yeah.
You either don't benefit fully from it, or like you benefit somewhat. It's 50-50, or it is somewhat sometimes 100-100. Sometimes you get lucky. You grow together.
Yeah. What genre would you describe yourself when you're with your sets? Because when I first met you at that event, you weren't playing hard trap. You weren't playing like bass. You were playing like a mix of pop, rap, trap as well. But then it was very interesting going to the event last night because it felt like that was. Would you say that was more you with like the type of music you like to listen to? Hard bass. I don't even know if it was like truly hard bass or not, but that was like trap as well to it. So I'm quite curious, how would you describe yourself as a DJ, and also like what's your like main genre?
Yeah, so last night what you heard was definitely a reflection of myself and what I would usually listen to and enjoy. When we had met in after show, and it
Yeah.
was more of a chill
Yes.
environment. And this comes with a sense of knowing your market as well. So that's why I
True.
was playing more chill music,
Mm.
poppy songs,
Yeah. Yeah.
American hip hop, trap,
Yeah.
and then only shifting and moving the crowd into a much more harder style,
Harder. Yes. Yeah.
songs that usually don't have vocals, just melodies or like hard bass lines.
Mm.
But last night definitely is more of a pure reflection of the identity that I would like to show to the world. Bass house, hybrid
house.
trap, dubstep, bro step, UKG. These are the things that I like to listen to these days. Yeah. And it's a really far cry from the scene that we have locally, and
True.
especially at the world at large. Locally, what I realize that's trending is house music, and specifically tech house, melodic house maybe, and also trance. For some odd reason, a lot of the people that like trance actually, or hardstyle even, or techno, these are people that actually went to Australia to study. And in Australia, there's a big hardstyle movement over there.
Okay.
That's where they picked up their first raving experiences. That's why they fell in love with the scene. So that's why when they came back here, they wanted to bring that scene here. But because Malaysia is so like multicultural and multifaceted, there's so many genres for you to play. So many, right? And that's why I feel like the scene here is very fragmented. There's a large market share of popular genres, and there's a smaller market share of like less popular genres. Notwithstanding that, the scene is very healthy. It just depends on perspective. Right?
True.
How many people attend this event, or like how aggressive this event is being marketed, yada yada yada, how many sponsors, blah blah blah. We have smaller, more intimate events, and we have the large scale,
Yeah.
The market is healthy. The market is healthy. But I mean, sorry for straying off topic.
No, it's good. It's good.
But for myself, I would say I play more of the less popular genres that we hear in Malaysia. And although I do see the popularity of like all these like tech house or like trance events, I would say it's more of the working class crowd, the people that are much more senior to me, maybe the 40-year-olds or the 50-year-olds.
Yeah.
I don't fault them for not listening to harder music. It's just a lifestyle. They wouldn't want to go, so like, But that's the thing, right? In the past, they probably loved rock music. And rock music was, maybe 60 BPM, stuff like that. But we've progressed. Every generation we've progressed. We're the most progressive generation in history, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes these people, they just want to harken back to an older time, and it's fine, And for us, we like the music, just play the music, listen to music, it's fine, know. And I feel as if it's because there's a market for these people to invest and to buy into the experience for the music. Kudos to them, And for us, we are just about to get started, and I feel like
Let's go.
we can build. From here we can build. Yeah. Hopefully.
No. You'll get there. Trust. Say someone I don't know how if you've experienced this already, but say someone goes up to you and say, "Hey, Kane, like I want to start DJing." What would you say is like the most lo-fi way for them to actually start? Like, would you recommend them watching some YouTube channels? I don't know if there exists some. Would you recommend them getting like a course similar to like what DJ Neota, like you mentioned, did? Friends, etc. Like, how would you guide someone?
Honestly, I think I can describe it two ways. I think a lot of people fall in love with DJing because of the lifestyle that they see online.
True.
The second step they take is that they use their funds and their money to invest in DJ courses. So we have DJ's Playground over here. We have other DJ Bionic. We have Bionic Academy Studio over here as well.
Okay.
You just have to find out online. But the big one these days is DJ's Playground, and their fees can cost from maybe 2,000 or 3,000 up to maybe 9,000. All in, it could cost maybe 5-6K just to start, or even 15. Who knows? At the most expensive range.
Yeah.
That's like the money way. That's like the money way.
Sure.
The interesting way, not gonna lie, is YouTube.
Okay.
Get me started here. Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of people that have stroke of genius whereby they use the keyboard on on their computer, and you can skip timestamps basically using the keys on the computer from 1 to 0, right? Whether from the start of the video or the end of the video. And they can correspond to notes, right? You can play the song according to your liking by tapping, one or 4 or 9 or 8 or 7. I've seen people play 2 songs at the same time on different computers, and they let them mesh together, and then they switch it up with another key press. That is DJing as well.
Interesting.
And that's free. I mean, not free. You have to invest in the computer, and you also
Yeah,
pay for internet connection. But
yeah.
that's another way as well, right? And if you start from there, and you have friends that say like, hey, if you're interested, just maybe download music off the internet and use Rekordbox.
Okay.
Rekordbox is a free program. You
Okay.
can pay for certain tools on it, but
Yeah,
it's a free program for you to learn how to DJ. There's also other programs out there, Serato,
Yes.
online DJ or something, and then a virtual DJ or DJ Pro, these programs. But the most common one that I see being used is Rekordbox.
Okay.
Because Rekordbox and Alpha Theta at large, they provide the software and they provide the hardware for all major clubs around the world and major venues.
Okay.
So starting from there, people can definitely learn how to DJ. Because to me, you can DJ your way, because it's the way you feel about the music. It's really the way you feel about the music. If you feel that it should transition this way, just do it first. If you ask your friend if it sounds wrong, they'll tell you it's wrong. Fine.
Yeah.
Work it around. Everyone has their own take. Just be sure to ask people that. Just be sure to have a mix of people that you ask. Have an opinion from both sides.
Okay.
From a person that doesn't listen to music, they just they just want to vibe, versus a person that actually knows music, the structure of music, 4 bars, 8 bars, the build up, the intro, the chorus, right? Because it's all this terminology that will help you in the future. So I think there's 3 ways: the YouTube way, the money way, and then also the Rekordbox way, right? Where you already know the type of music that you want to play. Yeah.
Nice. That's strong. That's super strong, dude. Hopefully, viewers and listeners who are tuning into this particular episode, they can get a sense of the various avenues that they can go into to hopefully one day start, because creativity, we can never run out of creativity, and I feel like that's also why I started this podcast, just because I feel like it's driven from the fact that I think, coming from an Asian culture, we, growing up especially, the creative route was never seen as a secure pathway. We always study engineering, doctor, blah blah blah. But then I feel like over the years I've seen people who not only balance both sides, but they eventually manage to go full-fledged into their creative field. And I think, wow, you can actually make a living out of creativity. Of course, you have to fully commit to it and be in the right rooms, etc. But it's still possible. And I feel like there's so many avenues and signs out there, but people may hold themselves back from starting because they're like, oh, I don't know, I don't think I have time, I don't think I'm that good enough, blah blah blah. So that's why I think your advice, for example, particularly with DJing, it's also applicable anywhere else as well. But I say that in other facets of life as well. But I think the way that you broke it down is kind of a really nice guide into how people can start. So really appreciate you just sharing that, dude.
I resonate with that a lot, because it's not about a lack of investment in the creative industry on the arts. There are people that appreciate arts, and there are people that don't appreciate arts. We've been in a society whereby we've so tied ourselves to numbers and production. I totally get that. We are a developing economy. We just want to ensure people have livelihoods, right? But what if people's livelihoods are tied directly to their creativity, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
We have so much societal problems these days that maybe the only avenue for people to de-stress and whatnot is actually to seek out these creative avenues, or to seek out art as a method, not only for self-expression but for reflection. You could see a piece of art that you resonate so much with that you decide to invest and buy it. That's great for the artist as well, because they've poured blood, sweat and tears and time into creating that piece of art. And what's so different about music is an art as well.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
People might think that we shouldn't be paying you this much because you're just pressing buttons on a deck or a computer. they don't understand that we've spent hours and hours curating those specific sets of music to mesh well together in order to ensure you have a great time. So technically, I'm trying to work for you. And
Yeah,
how
yeah,
dare you say that it's not an artistic form?
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
We've tied DJing. I feel like we've tied DJing a lot to too many negative elements of the nightlife, or
Interesting.
like having a hobby or stuff like that.
Mm,
Because we do appreciate music, but sometimes music is also tied to certain circles or places that not that don't necessarily that isn't necessarily healthy for a greater society. Right? Yes, these places, they mostly serve alcohol, stuff like that. But we don't only serve alcohol to people that want to have a good time, to meet new people. It has to be a pairing, that it is a synergy. It is a synergy between having a conducive environment for partying as well as the music. Because you'd be dead without music. But it's the DJ's job to keep the place alive, right? It's not just about people having conversation and whispering into people's ears. I get that. It's a great flirting method. It's like, oh man, her perfume smells great. She smells so sweet. It smells so good. Blah blah blah. But without the music, without people like letting down their inhibitions, we wouldn't have places whereby people can congregate and have a good time. And that's where I think we should find worth in. The DJ is actually trying to paint a perfect picture for you, and actually trying to make you happy. Is that not worth an investment?
True. That's strong. That's super strong, dude. We are almost at the end of the episode now, and we're now moving to a segment where I love to do it with my guests. Basically, it's a quick fire round where I ask you some random questions, and I just love to hear your take. So to start off, favorite city or country to visit?
So I would say London, because when I was in London,
Yes.
I felt very at home, and I loved the museums there.
You did mention last time.
Absolutely love them. I mean, I get that the UK is kind of like falling down the pecking order right now, but when I was there, it was great. It was great.
Yeah. What was it about it? Did it just feel like it was just so alive or something, or it was packed with creativity, or like more accessible, or like?
I think it was the sense of grandeur. It was the sense of grandeur. Yeah, it was so grand. It was big. It was spacious, and it was curated. I mean, not gonna lie, we come from a colonized country. Yes, we still Western facing and whatnot, but you can't help but be impressed and see that. You know what? The British Empire did plunder all these places, but they do have kick-ass museums. They set the standard. Yeah,
Fair.
that's basically. But what about you?
Favorite city? Granada in Spain.
Español.
Dude, you should check it out if you have the opportunity, because so Granada is a city where it used to be like colonized, but the Ottoman Empire was there.
Okay.
And then basically then during the Spanish Inquisition, that's when they take over and like sort of like kick. They basically gave two choices: either you convert or you get the fuck out. So, but there's the Alhambra. Where I don't even know if it's a palace, but it looks cool. It looks very beautiful. The architecture is amazing. So that's why I love going there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll send you pictures after this. So, but favorite food to eat? Cuisine.
Italian. I would say Italian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I fell in love with Italian food since the first time I had my mom's spaghetti. I think when I was like maybe 5 years old, she made the best bolognese. And till this day, it's still consistently the same. It was the beef. It was a mixture of, it was the beef and like the Prego sauce.
Nice.
And I fell in love with Italian cuisine from there. And that's why I learned culinary management. And I interned at an Italian restaurant. So yeah.
Love that. Favorite movie?
Bro. I think there's too many to choose, but I always gravitate towards Christopher Nolan films as well as the Daniel Craig James Bond films.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Nice. Those go hard. Favorite song that you're listening to right now?
It's called Shoot to Kill by Tisoki and Control Freak. So the first time I ever heard that from them was when Tisoki played his set in, I think, Las Vegas or something. I forgot that place. And it was his opening song. Shoot to Kill references and takes a sample from one of the old hip-hop songs, I forgot, from a Miami producer or something. And that song goes hard. I mean, it goes hard for me because I think it's the first time I'm exposing you to not only dubstep, but dubstep techno, right? Dubstep techno.
Yeah, okay. I'll check it out after this then. So,
please.
And then last one is favorite quote.
If you fail to prepare to fail.
Damn, bro.
If you fail to prepare, prepare to fail, yes. My tuition teacher last time, I forgot her name already, but she always had that advice for us. When she was still up and coming as a teacher, when she was in high school, she wasn't such a studious person, but when she went into uni, that's where she locked in. And now she's very successful. Yeah, you know, her story is the same for like a lot of people. They find success later in life, and they decide that, you know what, if you fail to prepare to fail. And if you keep coasting through life without preparing for the future, just prepare to, you know, accept the consequences of your actions and the circumstances of your life in the future.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's the same for DJing.
Mm.
If you don't prepare for a good show, prepare not to get a good show.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
So that resonates with me recently.
Love that. And before we end, I probably have 2 more questions left. But what does locking in mean to you?
Locking in means concentration, dedication. Definitely means affirmation as well. And means promise for me. Because notwithstanding the fact that you need to focus and you need to pour in all your energy,
Yeah.
it's promising to yourself that things will work out and that things are going to work out eventually. And that things will turn out fine only if you prepare. In terms of the larger business world, everyone has prepared for major disasters or knowing how to read the market and stuff like that because they locked in. They either locked in or went full on with their decision making by just saying like, the market says like you shouldn't be investing in this when you shouldn't be investing in this at this juncture because it's a dangerous investment. You might think it is dangerous for now, but push comes to shove and all of a sudden you realize 10 years down the line, booming industry. Look at TSMC, look at Taiwan, billions of investment over the course of 30 years. Look at where they're at now. The only country in the world just to manufacture cutting edge chips at the forefront of science and whatever. It's the same as DJing. It's the same as DJing. When you're performing up there, it's full-on focus, getting the timing right, getting the BPM right, making sure that the audience is having a good time, making sure that the audience is actually hearing the right things, you know, making sure that it doesn't hurt their ears. That's locking in. That's locking in. Cooking as well, realizing that it's spent enough time in the pan, you know, it's already simmered long enough, or maybe adding a little bit more pasta water just to make it more saucy. That's locking in. It's being in tune with all your senses, in tune with nature, in tune with your spirit, in tune with the expectations that you have for the future and what you want, locking in. That's it to me. Yeah.
That's amazing, man. And what's the transferable learnings that you've taken from sales and DJing, and how have you applied it to one another?
Hey guys, so Din actually had a follow-up question for me because he basically didn't think of the question during the podcast, but yeah, he had a genuinely, you know, interesting question, and he was curious about whether or not there was any, I mean, for me, whether there were any transferable lessons and skills from sales that apply to DJing. So yeah, I think that's not, I mean, I think it's pretty wild to have a linkage between the two, definitely, you know. But sales and DJing are practically the exact same sport, you know. It's just presented differently and with different outfits. It's either really dressed professionally or you have something loose on the side with some gold chains, stuff like that. But not everybody is flashy. I wouldn't describe myself as flashy, but it definitely can be. It definitely can be. So I think I would boil it down to 2 main phases, you know. And in terms of DJing, it's either during the performance or after the performance. So first thing would be, I would say it would be reading the room, you know. When you're live or when you're pitching in a boardroom or to your clients, or whether you're dropping a beat on stage, you're performing, right? You know, and I think I've at least learned maybe 7 things that are transferable between sales and DJing. So in sales and in DJing, it's never really about you, right? You don't pitch what you love. You solve the client's problem, right? And in DJing, it's roughly the same. You might love something niche, you know, in terms of music genre, But if the dance floor is dead, that's a clear sign that people don't want what you have. So you try to strike a balance with that. You play something that's generic or something that's popular in the mainstream, and then only you play something that would be much more suitable to your style, or something that you feel that is really great, but yeah, people just don't appreciate the same thing as you do. So you really have to pivot. You don't play for the crowd. You have to balance between playing for the crowd and playing for your ego, right? And the best DJs, they balance that. And in terms of balancing that, you have to balance wants and needs. A client wants a discount maybe, but they need a solution, and oftentimes they do get what they pay for, right? And if they don't pay for what you feel is fair, they're not often going to get that particular solution. So a crowd might want that overplayed TikTok song, but what they need is you as a DJ for you to guide them. They need you to manipulate their emotions through sound and pitch. Right? You're taking them on a journey. You can't just straight off just play something really hard, something really noisy, when their heart isn't ready for it. You've got to guide them. The same thing as in sales. A client might want a specific product to work for them, but when they list down their problem, it really doesn't fit their use case. Same thing, right? You have to balance both. Next thing is energy and execution. So you can plan something really grand for a DJ set, and the most creative, lighting and visual thing to happen in the background, right? But if you don't execute them practically or assertively, you just lose the crowd. You lose everything. You have to bring the energy. You have to make considerations. You have to make strong considerations for both parties. You have to manage all the stakeholders accordingly. You have to be professional. You have to remember you're a team player, right? It's not only you. It's not only the crowd, it's also the other DJs. You don't want to step on their toes. You also don't want to play a song that they would play later, stuff like that. And even if you do play a song that they would be using later, let them know, right? Try and let them know. Maybe they have another song that would work in their favor. Or let's say they would really love to play that song, and they would try and negotiate with you, in terms of playing another piece of music that would fit better in your use case. It's always a back and forth, and it's always a very good point to have to make considerations, and it applies both to sales and both to DJing, right? Now, in the second section would be in terms of DJing after the performance. So I would consider this in terms of after the performance, and in terms of like the after sales support. Yeah, let's call it that, right? The real magic happens when the music stops, or when the customer already has the solutions already on their side, and they're starting to use their functions and whatnot. You always have to follow up, right? You always thank a client for their continued support to the business, or their first-hand considerations for the business. It's the same thing with DJing. You have to thank the crowd. You give back the same consideration. You give back the same appreciation that they had for you during the performance, and you have to give back the same energy. You don't just wave your hand like a rock star and just leave, right? You always thank a client for the opportunity to do business, And I do the same after a gig. I always go down and I shake everybody's hands. I hug my friends, I hug strangers that really enjoy the performance, and they will obviously come up and say like, "Hey, great set." It's the same thing with sales. They will be highly appreciative of the help that you've given them. And your professionalism. You give back the exact same appreciation to the crowd and the venue for giving their time to you. And you don't just pack up your gear, you don't just take back your USB and you sprint off to another place. When you're busy and you have a certain schedule, that's completely fine, right? But you stick around, you socialize, you network, you know, you treat everybody else, you treat even your fellow DJs the same way you treat your sales colleagues, right? There might be some competition, but in all fairness, you guys are still co-workers. There should be some professionalism there, There's way more value in being supportive and building a community. Same thing in DJing, and it's the same thing. And I would say it's a very pressing point in the local Malaysian scene. I get that everyone wants to get a step up on everybody else, but if we don't approach it in the sense of community, we won't be getting anywhere as a collective, right? And finally, I think whenever you approach someone or whenever they have something to say, obviously have an ear and listen. They always have good feedback to tell you, right? You absorb the love, but obviously some people have some constructive criticism for you. They might not enjoy certain parts of your set, or some of the song choices that you've made. You might have the excuse or the gall to say, like, to each their own, or beauty is an eye of the beholder, art is different to everybody. That's great, but you won't build an audience without listening. The same way that they've listened to you, you should listen to them, right? If you got any branding or merchandise, that's the perfect time to also pass it around when you're on the floor, when they're giving you the appreciation. And it's the same thing in Malaysian business. Some clients, they obviously want something free in return. So not only do you want to give back to the community with your time, maybe give back in a form of a token of appreciation, stickers, fucking soft toys, whatever idea you have, that'd be great. And whether I'm closing a deal or whether I'm closing a set, the playbook is identical, right? You read the room, deliver the value, deliver your points, deliver the show, deliver the energy, and never forget to thank the people who showed up. That's all I have to say.
Before we wrap up, what's next for you, Kane? Like, what should people look out for? Any exciting things that you're looking forward to, etc.?
Definitely holding more events. Holding more
Nice.
events, not only with Base Capital, but with other people, working together more with my friend DJ Miao Muda. I wouldn't think that I would be DJing in clubs anytime soon, because club environments are definitely very different to what I would want to bring to a show.
Sure.
I'll probably be curating more shows instead of DJing for clubs. Totally different expectations and totally different circles. People want to get drunk in clubs. People want to have a good time at events. Totally different set of expectations. I want to have, there's a separation. That's definite separation. I think you would agree with me,
I agree, because I feel like it's just like I think where there's a fine line is that if it's a event in a club, then that's when it's like, oh, okay, it's like muddied in a bit. But I think the way that you make that distinction is it was just like, okay, yeah, that makes kind of sense.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? So that's the only issue we've been facing in the Malaysian scene, because we can't simply hold raves anywhere. You can't just get an abandoned building and then boom, rave. No. The police and society at large, we don't want to cause a nuisance to the community.
True though.
That's why we have to DJ in places such as bars and clubs. Right? It's not ideal, but it is safe, and it's safe for everybody involved. The police, the event organizers, every stakeholder out there. We don't want to cause community trouble. Yeah, we don't want to be a nuisance. We don't. We want to be conducive, and we want to be inclusive. Yeah.
That's crazy that you have to think about so many different things just to host something. And once you're able to lock in on something, then you can actually perform and get people to join your experience. But you can only get to there if you take all this into account. I'm like, wow, okay, I never really thought about it from that end.
Exactly. So for a lot of the event organizers out there, like Future Sound Asia, they've had 15 years organizing all this. They have been in the game too long. I mean, like very, very long. They've experience in this, and I can definitely tell you that even though they do make some money, a lot of it also still goes down the drain, and it takes so much effort for them and so many moving parts just to get the show off the ground. Just to get it off the ground. Not even keep it moving, just to get it off the ground. And when they do even get it off the ground, sometimes it just falls. It doesn't, it's not about falling short. It falls completely flat. Events get cancelled, whatever happens. There's so many moving parts over here.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to blame bureaucracy,
Mm.
but it is a hassle and a problem when there's so many people involved. And we
Yeah.
just only want to put on a good show for people.
Mm.
You know?
Damn. Well, having said that, Kane, just to wrap up, I really appreciate you just like coming onto this and just sharing your journey with me, taking us on throughout, how you see things, how you're balancing your time, but also like, where your perspective, like the DJing scene as well, how you yourself as a DJ maneuver through life basically. And very interesting that like, how you went from studying culinary management to banking and then sales and then DJ found you. So just want to say I really appreciate you taking the time, man. And much love. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you, Idris. I don't think, if not for meeting you that night at the after show event, I don't think this would have been possible, because I'm just as normal as you. I'm just as normal as everyone else out there. We're all going through life. We all have challenges. It just either looks better online or it doesn't. We're all in the same shoes here. I'm trying to make money. I'm trying to make people happy. Just the same as everyone else. And you're not alone. Anyone else out there that thinks they are alone, you're not alone.
We're all figuring it out.
We're all figuring it out. We're all going through issues. We all have our unresolved childhood trauma as well. But thank you so much, man. This was very, very nice.
Appreciate it, dude. Honestly, thank you so much again. And guys, appreciate you staying in this long. If you reached this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTuber stuff. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.